All right, let's start our statistics unit, which I'm super excited about. We're going to talk about data distributions today. So our first thing that we have here, for the data set below, find the mean, or the average. Of course, we know how to find the average or the mean. It's the sum of all the values divided by the number of values. So when we add all those up, we get 186, and there are 16 numbers. So we divide, and we get 11.625. That is our mean. That's the average of all those points. Now, another way to display data, or a way to display data, is a box and whisker plot, like we see here. We graph 5 numbers, the minimum value, the lowest value, the highest value, the median, the middle value, and then quartile 1 and quartile 3 are also medians of the halves of this. And then we make a box around the first quartile to the third quartile. We mark a line at the median, and the minimum and maximum just get either a line or a dot, and we get the whiskers going out there. Sure, that all made sense, but let's actually do one. So first step, we have to rearrange the data in ascending order. This is the same data that we just used up there, but now it's in order, which is nice. So we have 16 values, same set, so we want to find the middle. But there is no middle because it's an even number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And if you look, they have 7 numbers on either side, so that's the middle. And we can't have both of them, so we find the average, or the mean. So we add them up, divide by 2, and then the median is 12.5. Obviously, the 3 is our minimum, and 25 is our maximum. That's the highest and lowest. Now, quartile 1 and quartile 3. Quartile 1 is just the middle of the first half of data. So the median splits it up into the 2 sets, and now we have 8 numbers to the left of that line. So again, we're going to have to find the mean of 2 numbers, the 2 middle numbers, which happen to be 6 and 6. We got 3 numbers to the left of them, 3 numbers to the right of them. And so the median is the average of those. Obviously, we don't really need to find that because the average of 6, of course, is 6. So that's our Q1 or quartile 1. Then we find the middle of the second half of data. So to the right of that big line. So again, we're going to have 2 values that we're going to have to take the mean of. That's 15 and 16 because we have 3 numbers to the left, 3 numbers to the right. That is the middle. So we find the mean. Of course, that's just 15 plus 16 over 2, which gives us 15.5. So now we have what we call a 5-number summary, just to say how our data is spread out. And now we're going to make a box plot to show it graphically. So they show the same things. Actually, we're going to do some other things first. The minimum we said was 3. The maximum was 25. Those are pretty easy to find. Calculate the median, the number in the middle of the data set. We did. It was 12.5. Even though it's not in our data set, that's the mean of our 2 values there, so that is still the median. Then calculate, or since there are an even number of values, the median is the average of the 2 middle values. If there is an odd number of values, the median is the middle number, which is much easier. Now calculating the first and third quartiles, we just did that. The first quartile is the median of, we'll say the lower half or the first half. And the third quartile is the median of the upper half or the second half. So in this one, we had 6 and 15.5. So now we need to create the box plot and write the 5-number summary. We have all the stuff that we need, we just have to write it out now. So let me get a different color here, because that's not what I want to use. Oops, that's not what I want to use either. So we need to number our number line here. We can go by 2s, we can go by 1s, but we have to go up to at least 25 because that's our biggest number, that's our maximum. So hopefully we're going by 2s, we can get up to 25 somewhere on this graph. 26, 28, there we go. We have enough. We don't have to keep going. Well, might as well just finish it off. 30. Okay, so now we need to mark, well, let's write our 5-number summary first. So our lowest value was 3. Our Q1 was 6. Our median was 12.5. Our Q3 was 15.5. And 25 was our largest number. This here is our 5-number summary. Again, those numbers split our data up into quarters, into 25% pieces. And we'll take a look at that once we get our box plot set. So we got something at 3, and we have it above the axis. We don't put it on the axis. So we got 3, 6, 12 and a half, kind of have to estimate that. 15 and a half, kind of have to estimate that. And 25 in the middle of 24 and 26. So that's our 5-number summary written out. Now to complete our box plot, we need to connect the middle 3 to make a box. That's where the middle part of our data is. And then just connect it to the minimum and the maximum. So again, that's the minimum, that's Q1, that's the median, Q2, and the maximum. And what I was saying about quartiles, we know that quarters are 25 cents out of $1. Well, quartiles are 25% out of all the data. So 25% of the data is between the minimum and Q1. 25% of the data is between Q1 and the median. 25% of the data is between the median and a Q2. Oops, 3. And Q3 to the maximum also has 25% of the data. So none of them have more data. They may have larger numbers, but they all 4 sections are 25%. Hence, quartiles are quarters. Now something else we need to know, range. Our range is just the maximum value minus the minimum, just to see how wide our numbers are. So in our interquartile range is Q3 minus Q1. This gives us, and it's the length of the box, this gives us the middle 50% of our data. So we can kind of say, hey, that's about the middle. That's the normal part. So in this example, the range is just 9 minus 3, or 6. And if we find our Q1 and Q3, so our median would be there. We don't need to find the median. Q1 would be the mean of those two. Q3 would be the mean of those. So Q1 is 4.5, and Q3 is 7.5. So our IQR, or interquartile range, is 7.5 minus 4.5, or 3. So the total spread between those first and the last data set, or data point, is 6. But if we just look at the middle 50%, it's 3 wide. So that's what we're doing when we're making these box and whisker plots. All right, let's try another example. We have the resting heart rates in beats per minute of a group of people below. We want to find the 5-number summary, and we want to draw the box and whisker plot. So first thing we have to do is put them in order. So our lowest number is 50. Now I would cross them off as we write them so we know that we've covered all of them. Then we got 55, 58. I think that's the end of our 50s. So we got 60. We got 64, 68. And I think that's the end of our 60s. We go to 70, 72, 76. It's the end of our 7s. And then 84. Just have one of those and then a 92. So there's our set. So we got to find our 5-number summary based on this. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 pieces of data. So that's good. Our median is just going to be the middle number. So 11 numbers, the middle number is going to be the 6th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is our median. Now we need to find Q1 and Q3. Q1 again is the middle of the first half or the lower half. Q3 is the middle of the higher half. So if we're looking at the lower half, 50 through 64, 5 numbers. So again, our median of the first half, or our Q1, is just going to be the middle number because it's an odd number of data points. So that's just 58. There's 2 points on, or 2 data points on either side, so that's the middle. We do the same thing with Q3. Our middle is 76, because that's the 3rd spot out of 5. And of course, we have our minimum at 50 and our maximum at 92. So we got our 5-number summary. So 50, 58, 68, 76, and 92 is our maximum. Now we got to graph our box and whisker plot. Now we don't have to start the axis at 0. We can start it at whatever we need to. I'm going to start it at 45. It's a little bit lower than our first one. And hopefully if I go by 5s, I can go at least up to 92 or something. I guess we would go to 95. So let's see if that's going to be the case, or else we'll have to start over, and that kind of stinks. So we're going by 5s. We're up to 95 right there. All right, we're good. Man, let's just finish off that last one. So we put a line at 50. Line at 58, we got to estimate that. Line at 68, estimate that. 76, a little bit more than 75. And then 92, we estimate that. Then we connect our middle, our box. That represents our IQR. And we connect our whiskers to our maximum and minimum. So that's our box plot of this data. It's just the same thing as the 5-number summary, but it's shown as a picture, as a graph. Okay, now we got some questions to answer here. So let's answer them. What is the range? Well, we know it's the maximum, 92, minus the minimum, 50. So that would be 42 beats per minute. We're dealing with real things, so we want units. What is the interquartile range? Remember, that's just Q3, 76, minus Q1, 58. So it's 18 beats per minute. Okay, now they start talking about the percents. So remember, each of those lines that we first drew separate 25% of our data. So we got 25% in between 50 and 58, 25% between 58 and 68, 25% between 68 and 76, and lastly 25% between 76 and 92. So what percent have a resting heart rate less than 68 beats per minute? 68 is our median, so we're going here to here. That's the lowest it goes. We don't have anything lower than that. So, well, there's two sections there, so it's 50%. So 50% of the people that we took have a heart rate less than 68 beats per minute. Letter D, what percent have a resting heart of no more than 76? So again, it's a less than. We want to see 76 and lower. So 76 is Q3. Now if we look at that yellow, we have 3 sections included. So that's 75%. All right, what percent have a resting heart rate between 50 and 58? Again, I'll get out my highlighter so we can show it. 50 to 58 is just from here to here. So it's just 25%. It's just one section of our box plot. And then lastly, we need what percent have a resting heart rate of at least 68? So there's 68 and more. Now how many sections is that? Well, there's 2 sections there, so that would be 50%. And that's how we make a box plot and answer questions about that using the fact that there are quartiles. All right, let's continue on with analyzing box and whisker plots, which we kind of already did, but now we don't have the numbers. We have to just look directly off our box and whisker plot. So what is the median score? Well, remember, the median's the middle of everything. And so the middle of this is right there at 80. Then, how many students scored between 70 and 80? So that's here to here. Well, that's also just from the first quartile to the median. And that's just one section, so one section is 25%. If Kate got an 87, so good for her. Or them. 87 is somewhere here. How did she do compared to the class? Well, so we got all this. She did better than all these people. They did better than all these people. So we know it's 1 section, 2 section, 3 sections at least. It's a little bit more, but we can't tell exactly how much more. So we can say at least 75%. But probably more, we just can't figure that out. So let's move on to another one. Same idea. This time I think I'm going to label our minimum, Q1, our median, excuse me, Q3, and then our maximum. So what is the interquartile range? Now remember, that's just Q3 minus Q1. Excuse me. So Q3 minus Q1, well, Q3 is 6, Q1 is 3.5, so we subtract them, and we get 2.5. That is our interquartile range. What percent of laptops have a battery life of at least 6 hours? So that's 6 hours and more. So that's from here to here. Now how many sections is that of our 4 sections in our box plot? Well, just one. One section is 25%. Now, how many laptops have a battery life less than 4.5 hours? So that's here down. And how many sections is that? Well, 2, so it's 50%. Now comparing box and whisker plots, the whole reason that we have this. So Mr. Athens and Mrs. Gilman have their classes, they gave the same test, and the scores are here. What is the difference in the median score? Well, again, median is where the middle of the line in the box is. So Mr. Athens looks like it's 80. Miss Gilman is 75. So the difference is 5. 5 points or percentage points, I'm not sure. Which class do you feel did better overall? Well, we could debate. Mr. Athens' class has a much higher max. Well, not much higher, but 5% higher. The median's higher. But it also goes, the minimum's way lower than Mrs. Gilman's class. So I would say that Mrs. Gilman's class did better overall because there were no super low grades. In Mrs. Gilman's class, the lowest grade was a 60. In Mr. Athens' class, 25% of the class got between a 60 and a 45. So 25% of the people failed. That's not good. So I think Mrs. Gilman's class did better. All right, last one. The Hot Shots and Rising Suns are two competing basketball teams. The point totals of the games for the season are shown below. What is the difference in the interquartile ranges? All right, so we got Q1 here and Q3 here for Hot Shots. We got Q1 here and Q3 here for the Rising Suns. So for the Rising Suns, Q3 is 81, Q1 is 78, so 3. The Hot Shots, we got 80 for our Q3 minus Q1, which is 74, so 6. And then to find the difference in the two interquartile ranges, we just subtract them again, and the difference is 3. Which team do you feel did better overall? Well, I think we have to say Hot Shots. They didn't have any low-scoring games. Or not as low as the Rising Suns, anyways. And they had a higher maximum. But you could argue that Rising Suns had it because their median is higher than the median for Hot Shots. So you could go either way, you just have to back it up with data, with things that are true, facts.